Welcome to Kolme Group's PSA Foundation solution for PlanView Adaptive Work. Adaptive Work is endlessly flexible and capable of supporting complex business processes with ease. However, this very flexibility can make a software implementation feel like a daunting task. Where do I even start? And then once my team is off and running with the tool, where do I go from here? We are here to set you up for success and guide you through your journey. We've designed this comprehensive package targeting the most commonly requested PSA business processes, which provides visibility into billable resource availability and revenue forecasting for a solid start. We will work with your team to tailor these processes to your organization's specific needs. Let's review what this package includes. Here is a high-level overview of what comes with the PSA Foundation package. The succeeding slides will include additional details that I will not speak on specifically, so feel free to pause the video as we review each slide. We will ensure correct setup of your adaptive work instance and set over 200 system settings, according to best practice for a PSA use case. This system setup includes SSO and user provisioning setup in collaboration with your IT team, as well as connection to common document repositories like Box, Google, or SharePoint. Our PSA package comes with profiles to support the most common PSA roles. Each profile will have a homepage with quick links to get them right to what's important based on their role, and can even be branded to your company's colors. We will enable your admin team on how permissions are used to manage a user's visibility into certain projects. For example, whether they should see sensitive projects or projects from another business unit. We will also enable your admins on how to create and manage portfolios and programs, as well as set up automation to sort your projects into their respective program and/or portfolios during the project lifecycle. Here are the items relating to project work that come with the PSA Foundation package. Let's roll into the demo to see these items in action. Alright, I've logged in as a project manager and landed on the home page. We can see the company branding and quick links to key areas relating to my role. Let's start by submitting a new services project. This is the first here of many custom forms that comes with our Foundation package. We've displayed the most commonly requested data points here on the form to start, but we'll tailor these forms to suit your organization's needs. This ensures you're capturing the required data at each point. I'm going to go ahead and give my project a descriptive name. Then I'm going to input my project description here. For project type, I'm going to choose my customer implementation. Then for project manager, it has defaulted to my user because I'm submitting the form, but I can choose another person if they will be performing the work instead. For the start date, it defaults to today's date, but I can choose a date in the future if required. Regarding committed date, it doesn't have an asterisk, so it's not required. I'm just going to leave it blank. Next, we will choose our project template. A project template is created by an administrator and acts as a framework for my project. It has preset milestones and tasks to reduce the amount of work required for drafting my initial project plan. Today, I will use my PSA project template. We can also attach a file to this new project. I'm going to add a sample document, which could be the client SAL. Now that we filled out the form, let's go ahead and click OK. The system is creating my new project, it's updating the fields I inputted, applying the project template, and attaching my new file. This success message at the top here has a hyperlink to my new project. Okay, let's get our bearings on the screen for a moment. Here by the project title is the property card, which can be thought of as a quick information card. I can see my project type, my project manager, and description have been updated. I can also see that it's in a draft state as it's been designated here. If I scroll down a little bit here in my work plan, I can see a couple of time reporting tasks as well as deliverable milestones. This came from the project template. I can see the tasks have their respective duration and effort estimates here. Also, I have a few placeholder resources here on my time reporting task, which are great for giving me ideas of the types of resources I may need, as well as ballpark revenue forecast based on the cost and bill rates associated with these job titles. Lastly, in the related menu on the right, I can see the sample SAO document that I attached to my project, as well as an automated email notification to the PMO, which could be your PS management team. This is a hyperlink to the project. At this point, project intake is considered complete, so we will now move on to activation. For project activation, this can go a few different ways, depending on the resource management methods you're looking to implement. If your team will incorporate resource managers or an equivalent role, they can review your team's availability within Adaptive Work. I will open up the capacity planning module to look at our project manager resources. Based on the heat map here and the percentage values that I see, I can infer that Anne is quite busy at nearly 95% utilized right now, and Anthony has some availability right now, whereas my name here, which is the user I'm using today, has way open availability. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my name here. I'm going to click on this next step button, Activate Project, in order to assign my official project manager. They're already designated as my user, but I would just click them out and look for the user within this search box here. Okay. And then for overall summary, I'm just going to include some notes here that this services project has 2 deliverables. We're charging 50% at kickoff and 50% at close for those deliverables for 100K total value. Once I click OK, the official PM will receive an email notification of the project assignment. Quickly refresh my screen. And then we can also see that the state was updated to active. And here's that email notification to the project manager. Again, another link to the project to take them directly to where they need to go. And then the comments that I posted in that overall summary box show here, so the project manager knows any key information upon receipt of the project. So as a newly assigned project manager, I can make any necessary tweaks to my work plan by adding or removing tasks if required by my organization or by the SAO, for example. And I can update the duration values of this project if it's going to take longer than the estimated 3 months already put here. And then I can also update the effort values. So let's say my non-billable is really only budgeted at 100 hours. I can reflect that here by changing the work to 100. Once my work plan is complete, I'm going to go ahead and add my resources by updating these job title resources here. So I'm going to go ahead and select my project here, click resourcing and replace resource. So I have a business analyst. I'm going to search for business analyst in my work plan and replace them with a user in the system. And once I do that replace resource, everywhere that there's a business analyst within my project work plan, that will be updated to Danny as I selected. Then we have an engineer. I'm going to go ahead and update that one with the real resource that will be completing that work. And then a project manager, I'm just going to update with my name here, which is the user I'm using today. And then lastly, we have a technical consultant. So I'm going to replace that technical consultant. Okay. So once I've replaced all my resources and I have my real users assigned to this task, I can go ahead and use copy paste to apply resources to other tasks in my work plan, for example, to this non-billable task. All right, now let's look at my project budget for just a minute, now that my project is fully resourced. There are endless ways to generate your project budget based on your organization's needs. But in this demonstration, my budget is calculated by the number of hours a resource is assigned to a task times their cost rate. So within my work plan, we can see my budgeted cost for this time reporting task is $30,000 and the work is $300. So I know that the hourly rate for my resources averages $100. So 100 times 300 would be 30,000. And same for this non-billable task. We can see these deliverable milestones have 0 hours of work and no resources, so their work is estimated at, and budgeted cost is estimated at 0. Okay, and then if I scroll down to my financial planner, I'm going to quickly refresh it so that it takes all of the data that I've been updating throughout the changes I made to my work plan, and then we'll be able to see a month-over-month breakdown of my labor. Okay, so I'm just going to move over to September. Here we can see each resource is listed here for their non-billable and their time reporting task. And I can see that for the month of September, Bradley is going to cost me $583, and then for his time reporting task, it'll be $1750 for the month of September. And I see those values change for October. And then if I scroll all the way to the end, I can see per resource what the total would be for each task, as well as subtotals for the entire group up above here. Okay, and then regarding my deliverables here, I'm going to go ahead and update this fixed price value here. In my overall summary, I saw that it was a $50,000 price for the kickoff and then $50,000 for close. So I'm going to go ahead and input those values into my fixed price. I'm not going to demonstrate in this video, but there is an option to track budgeted and actual costs of non-labor resources, such as contractor costs, materials, subscriptions, travel, etc. We'll come back to actual costs and revenue in just a minute. So once my resources have been assigned and I've reviewed my initial budget and everything looks good, I'm going to go ahead and baseline my project by selecting my project, utilities, and then save as baseline. The system is saving the work plan and key data to be referenced later. If I navigate over to my baseline scheduling view here, I would be able to see how my current work plan looks compared to this initial baseline. So that would be great for reflecting on where my due date is or the completed work is a couple months from now. Now I'm going to be working on my services project. And when it's time to submit my timesheet for the day, I can either do so in my timesheet module here, or I can select a task that I'm assigned to, and within my common menu, click Report Time. I'm going to add 2 hours here. It's showing for the reported date of today, and then 2 hours here. And then for my comments, I'm going to put that client kickoff is completed, and that I initiated any relevant deliverables. There is an option to report this as overtime if that's necessary, but I'm going to leave it as regular time right now. So I'm going to click Save. So this is an aggregated time entry that's been updated, and I can see here that we have our aggregated time entries. Each time my resources submit their timesheets, they are going to appear in this list here, so I can see over time how they are reporting time against the plan and reflecting in the comments what the time was related to. Okay, let's navigate over to our financial actuals view and take a look at that. In the actual effort column here, we can see I reported 2 hours and have 298 hours remaining for this services project. As the resources on my project continue to report time, the resource actual costs will be calculated naturally by the system. And let's go ahead and refresh the financial planner one more time since I've submitted that timesheet. So we can see here that for my name here, we can see my actual cost for September, since I had that timesheet for September 4th of 2 hours, is calculated in this financial planning as well. So we can see I'm budgeted at $1750 for the amount of hours I'm assigned. I've reported 2 hours equaling 200 actual cost, and then it also calculates the cost variance of where I'm at so far this month. Let's go ahead and initiate an invoice for one of these deliverable milestones. So since I completed that kickoff and that timesheet, I'm going to go ahead and mark this milestone as complete. So we can see here that the state is completed for this milestone. And now what I'm going to do is click on Actions and Initiate Milestone Invoice. Okay, so this lets me know that the finance team has been alerted to initiate the invoice for this process. So let's go ahead and take a look at our emails here. And this is what the email looks like being sent to my accounting team. Just letting them know, hey, that this deliverable billing milestone here for the deliverable kickoff milestone has been marked complete and is ready to be invoiced. It sends them a link to the project, a link to that milestone that I marked complete, what day it was marked, and then the invoice amount. And then if the accounting team replies to that email, the email thread will be tracked in here so we can see their replies, whether they're requesting additional information or just letting me know that the invoice has been completed. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate over to my revenue view now so we can see some revenue fields relating to my project. With the standard PSA Foundations package, we can replicate time and materials as well as fixed price contract types. If your organization requires different contract types, add-ons are available to support those. So now let's go ahead and look at my time and materials task here in the system. It's calculating my expected revenue here of 60,000, and this is based on the work column, the 300 hours of work, times their bill rate, which is different from their cost rate, which appears to be 200 here based on the map. So the expected revenue for this time reporting task once the 300 hours are consumed would be $60,000. And with my 2 hours report on that timesheet, we see the actual revenue generated so far equals 400. And then also with my deliverable milestone, we can see here that since I've marked it complete, it's recognized that fixed price value of 50,000 as actual revenue, whereas the closeout milestone that has not been marked complete is still only expected revenue of 50,000. And I also wanted to mention that with the bill rates on the time and materials tasks, if I ever need to change a specific resource's bill rate, maybe they're filling a senior project manager role because we had to pull a regular project manager to fill this role in order to deliver these services, I could select this time reporting task, resourcing, and use price and rates in order to change the bill rate, regular and overtime rates for these resources. So we can see their regular bill rate versus their billing overtime rate. So maybe Bradley actually needs to be at 400 like the rest of the team here. So if I change that value, we see the blue triangle let us know that it's been changed specifically on this project. And then I can click OK to save that change. So there is an option to have month closure automation added to your system as part of the PSA Foundations package. I'm not going to demonstrate in this video, but month closure will lock timesheets from the previous time period, so they cannot be edited. This will support your organization's billing process. So let's briefly review the reporting functionality of adaptive work. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this revenue forecast for current year report. This revenue report just shows me my active projects, which are the work in progress ones, how our revenue is generated over the year. So it looks like my revenue starts in September of this month, and we can see my budget versus actual revenue. So my budgeted revenue for September is 120,000, and my actual revenue so far is 50,400, which comes from that 50,000 deliverable milestone and then the 400 from that time and materials task. And then if I scroll down below, we can see there's no data up through September, but once we scroll up to September, we can see those revenue values populating for each month of September, October, November, as well as subtotal columns at the very end of this table. Next, with this other report, we have billable project utilization. This is planned versus actual on a monthly basis, so I can see the working hours, the capacity or availability of my resources, as well as their planned and actual billable assignments. So let's go ahead and just take a look at my all company, and then we're going to scroll over to September where the data lies. So an example we saw on our capacity planner earlier, we can see that she has 168 hours of available work. She has 0 hours of non-working exceptions, which are just time off, and then 160 hours of billable assigned work. And Anne has reported 16 hours of billable work so far this month. So we get a good idea of where Anne is in terms of her assigned work and whether her billable work is actually living up to the assigned amount of estimated work she has here. And then for my name here, we can see that 2 hours of billable work is represented here. Okay, Lastly, here's an executive dashboard that details the status of projects across the organization. Your team will receive training on how to interpret and create or change the out-of-the-box reports that come with the system. There's over 100 system reports, and you'll even know how to create your own from scratch to get the key data points that you need from the system. All right, now that we've reviewed the reporting, let's go ahead and go back to my project now and get to work. So I'm going to navigate over to my project overview view since we finished up our financials review. I'm going to go ahead and record some rate items. I'm going to add a risk here by clicking the blue Add a Related button and selecting a risk. This form here is a standard system form and can be edited to include different data fields here to better fit your company's process. I'm going to call this risk customer is not happy about X deliverable design. I can go ahead and add a description to explain the risk. And then I can go ahead and add an impact. So maybe we have a 1 through 5 scale, 5 being a very high impact, and then probability of this becoming an issue is, let's say 90%. If we can't win them over in the next meeting, it's very likely going to be an issue. And then with my response plan description, I will put, this is how we will address this risk. And then I can add details, of what I'm going to do to address this. And click Save. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and add an action item here by clicking the Add Related again, but action item this time. And then for my action item, I'm going to schedule an important meeting with my client. And then I can set a due date and an owner as needed. Okay, so we can see my risks and action items listed here. As I add more, this list will grow to show me a representative RAID log relating to this specific project. These action items and risks will only appear on my Deliver Service X to Customer Y project, so my RAID logs are separate for each of my projects. Now let's move on to my weekly status report. I'm going to scroll back to the top, select Actions and Status Report. This is the next custom form that comes with the foundation package, again customizable to suit your organization's needs. I'm going to begin by filling out the presented fields. And then here I have a few RAG indicators of how my overall project status is going. So I'm just going to go ahead and input a few here, and then include what I accomplished, and then what I plan to accomplish. And then select OK once I'm done filling out the form. Okay. Now that I've updated my project status, I'm going to go ahead and generate my one-click status report. I'm going to select Actions again and click on Publish Slides. Another form is going to pop up and it's going to request different information. This form comes from an application called Slide Publisher. This application takes a templated PowerPoint slide and generates a custom product in the click of a button. So let's go ahead and select a status report template. And then it shows the file name as the name of my project, but I'm going to append it with today's date just so I know that this status report is relevant to September 4th. And then I have the option to attach this file directly to the project, attach it as a discussion, or if I include a subject and email body, it will just send it as an email. The slide publisher templates don't always come out perfect. There are going to be some minor changes to the formatting required in order to make it look complete, because the text areas for a description, for example, might be bigger for some projects than others. So just be aware of that. And here is what the sample template looks like. This is a very, very simple one, and the products that you can create from this application can be very powerful and very beautiful. But here's just a simple example of pulling my project manager name. It's pulling my project's due date, percent complete, the executive summary and the accomplishments that I included, as well as my RAG indicators from that form. It shows the open and closed milestones on my project with their due date or respective end date, as well as any risks that I assigned to this project. So once I'm ready to close out my project, I'm going to click this next step, Close Out Project. This is the final custom form and can be used to remind the project manager to complete key closing activities, whether it's to verify financial closure with the finance team or log lessons learned, for example. I will input the closing details here. Let's select a date in the future, as if I'm completing it on this day, and then click OK to submit. We can see that my state has been updated to complete here. And this concludes the project lifecycle demo for the PSA Foundation package. To ensure your team can independently manage and evolve the tool post-implementation, we include comprehensive training on key out-of-the-box functionality and front-end administration. To ensure your organization's long-term success with adaptive work, we include an administrative handover session and documentation on your final solution, as well as practical tips for ongoing system management. Additionally, we provide tailored end-user training resources focused on day-to-day operations. These materials can be customized to incorporate your organization's specific policies and procedures. If you're interested in learning more about the PSA Foundation package or any of our other services, please reach out to our sales team or review our website for details. Thanks for watching.